Today, I will discuss about powering the social project, the structural changes needed to fund social progress. First, we try to understand what is a social project. It can be defined as initiatives or interventions that aim to address social issues such as poverty, inequality, health, education, or community development. This type of project is fundamentally different from many others because it primarily aims to tackle wicked problems, meaning these are intricate and challenging issues related to social change that cannot be entirely comprehended or resolved. Unlike more straightforward projects, these issues demand ongoing attention and effort. They can only be improved, addressed, and navigated over time, and cannot be effectively managed within a strict, narrowly defined time frame. This requires a sustained and flexible approach to make meaningful progress. Social entrepreneurs are increasingly approaching their impact work from a for-profit angle. Between 2014 and 2019, the proportion of social entrepreneurs applying to the prestigious Echoing Green Fellowship with a for-profit business model increased from 20 to 30%. This indicates a trend where social entrepreneurs are increasingly considering for-profit organizational structure as a means to achieve their impact goals. For-profit ventures access 9 times more funding than their nonprofit counterparts, with an average deal size 9 times greater as well. This states the significant disparity in fundraising success between for-profit and non-profit social ventures, leading to that a for-profit organizational structure is perceived as more conducive to securing financial support for social ventures and offers the best prospects for long-term, scaled, and sustained impact. And as a reality check, commercial funding continues to be profit-driven and prioritizes financial outcomes that are difficult to reconcile with the realities and purpose of a social venture. The fundraising experience for for-profit social entrepreneurs is challenging due to the following factors: complex environments, traditional expectations, time pressure, and return profiles. First, the challenges in complex environments for social entrepreneurs include contending with factors such as conflict zones, inadequate public infrastructure, and a lack of skilled labor. These factors can significantly impact the operations of social ventures, making it difficult to implement and scale their solutions effectively. Traditional for-profit funders may not fully understand or account for these challenges when uh, evaluating and supporting social projects. Next is traditional expectations. Traditional for-profit funders are profit-driven and prioritize financial outcomes that may not align with the social mission of the ventures. Early-stage for-profit social entrepreneurs, especially those that fail to meet traditional expectations of return and rapid scaling, may struggle to access capital as the promise of the for-profit model doesn't materialize for all. This creates a need for setting different expectations for investors and resolving the contradictions between the financial performance and the mission of the organization. Time pressure. Social entrepreneurs often face short-term pressures from traditional investment capital, which can compromise their ability to develop trust with beneficiaries and refine an effective theory of change. Then, return profiles. The challenges in return profiles for impact investors stem from the fact that social ventures often produce lower financial returns compared to traditional investments. Impact investors who are accustomed to financial return mentalities and venture capital models face difficulties in achieving market rate financial returns from social ventures. This is due to the time required for refining solutions, the need to optimize for social outcomes, and the varying levels of market support for the solutions. Furthermore, the majority of investors prioritize risk-adjusted levels of return and limit risk by investing after a venture has proven its concept, which can create challenges for early-stage for-profit social entrepreneurs in accessing capital. Consequently, most social entrepreneurs rely on alternative funding sources such as bootstrapping, gifts, grants, fellowships, and competition prizes to support the initial phases of a social venture development. The funding landscape highlights the challenges and disparities in access to funding for social ventures, particularly for founders from economically disadvantaged and minority communities. Impact investing refers to the practice of investing in companies, organizations, and funds with the intention of generating a measurable, beneficial social or environmental impact alongside a financial return. Unlike traditional investing, where the primary goal is financial gain, impact investing aims to contribute to positive social or environmental change while also seeking a financial return on the investment. The challenge of the impact investing lies in balancing the financial expectations with the social impact, aligning market incentives with concessionary impact investing, and developing rigorous and unbiased evaluation mechanisms for social investments. Philanthropy. The philanthropy funding landscape is currently characterized by a focus on charity and a cultural misalignment with the idea of investing. Despite the rapidly expanding resources of individuals with high net worth, philanthropy has not been scaling with social needs. This has led to challenges in adequately addressing social needs through voluntary private funding sources such as philanthropy and impact investing. Additionally, there is a concern about the predominantly white and higher socioeconomic status of philanthropists and finance professionals, impacting the kind of social ventures that receive funding as well as the founders who are backed. People of color who are disproportionately affected by social and environmental issues have a harder time raising funds for their social entrepreneurship work. This has led to a lack of representation and support for founders at the intersection of identities whose groups experience compounded social issues and discrimination. Hybrid structures. Hybrid forms of incorporation or combination of nonprofit or for-profit organizations face challenges in securing funding as these models remain misunderstood by both and philanthropists and for-profit funders. Bootstrapping is a term used to describe the process of starting and building a business with minimal outside capital or resources. It typically involves using personal savings, revenue from the business itself, or other non-traditional methods of funding rather than seeking external investment or loans. This approach allows social entrepreneurs to maintain control over their business and its direction. It can also present challenges in terms of limited resources for growth and development. The philosophies for funding impact can vary based on the type of private sources of funding. The limitations associated with each philosophy are as follows. Philanthropy plays a critical role in fostering innovation and enabling risk-taking for sub-commercial for-profit social ventures. It supports the early phases of social venture development through bootstrapping, gifts, grants, fellowships, and competition prizes. However, these forms of funding may not be sustainable in the long term, and there's a risk of dependency on donations and grants, which can be unpredictable. Impact investing aims to align financial returns with social social and environmental impact. It seeks to address societal issues through for-profit investment models that consider both financial and impact returns. However, impact investors often prioritize ventures with proven concepts and risk-adjusted levels of returns, which may limit funding opportunities for early-stage social entrepreneurs and those with hybrid forms of incorporation. Stakeholder capitalism. This philosophy behind stakeholder capitalism is to consider the interests of all stakeholders, including employees, customers, suppliers, and the community, in addition to the financial interests of shareholders. This approach recognizes that businesses have a broader impact on society and should therefore take into account the well-being of various stakeholders. There are limitations to stakeholder capitalism. While some stakeholder needs to align with a corporation's best interests, not all do. The approach relies on voluntary action on the part of corporate CEOs to consider all stakeholders in business operations. Additionally, not all kinds of alignments with societal needs have the same positive effect on the company value. This means that stakeholder capitalism may not always result in the optimal allocation of resources to address societal needs. Overall, while stakeholder capitalism represents a more inclusive approach to business, it still faces challenges in effectively addressing the diverse and complex needs of, of all stakeholders while maintaining financial viability. The fundraising outcomes between for-profit and non-profit social ventures impact their operations in several ways. For-profit social ventures generally struggle to access sufficient capital, especially in the early stages, despite having a legal structure that allows them to embrace a social mission. This disparity in funding outcomes can result in limited resources for-profit social ventures, affecting their ability to scale and sustain their impact over the long term. As a result, for-profit social entrepreneurs often rely on bootstrapping, grants, fellowships, and competition prizes to support the initial phases of their venture development. This can hinder their capacity to effectively address social needs and implement their mission at scale. Additionally, the disparity may lead to challenges in accessing growth capital, which is crucial for sustained impact and expansion of their operations. The increasing trend of social entrepreneurs applying with a for-profit business model is evident with the proportion rising from 20 to 30% between 2014 and 2019. However, fundraising outcomes reveal a significant difference between for-profit and non-profit ventures. A study comparing fundraising outcomes of social entrepreneurs to mainstream entrepreneurs showed that social ventures overall are less successful at raising funds than mainstream startups. Additionally, more for-profit social ventures, while more successful at fundraising over the span of their company's life, face challenges in accessing capital at the early stage, especially when compared to their non-profit counterparts. This indicates a disparity in fundraising outcomes between for-profit and non-profit ventures, highlighting the need for further exploration into the dynamics of fundraising for social entrepreneurs. Next, the limited role of impact investing in supporting for-profit social entrepreneurs is highlighted with a comparison between the available capital for impact investing and philanthropy. While impact investing capital has been growing rapidly, it remains limited. This indicates that voluntary private funding sources such as philanthropy are not rising to the necessary scale to adequately address social needs, and impact investing alone may not be sufficient to fuel the social enterprise movement. Government intervention. Harnessing the profit motives to meet societal needs. Government interventions can subsidize sub-commercial investments, making them attractive to commercial investors, proposing a systemic approach to embed social investments in traditional investing. Examples of government interventions are tax breaks, subsidies, guarantees, and mandates that can steer capital towards social enterprises. The impact of social investments is highlighted as a means of addressing market failures and repairing inequities created by an imperfect economic system. However, there are concerns about the sustainability and scalability of concessionary impact investing, as well as the need for new approaches and industry standards to maximize the impact of society. To maximize the impact for society. Qualifying social investments. Discussing the complexities of qualifying social investments and the need for a re-evaluation of selection criteria and processes to understand the potential impact of social investment alongside financial returns and requires a shift in mindset and enterprise. Empowering communities. The impact of social investment in empowering communities is a key focus in allocating resources effectively to address societal needs and discusses the challenges and potential solutions in this area. This is to ensure inclusive funding for social projects, advocating for a fair allocation system wherein capital should be accessible to all entrepreneurs based on merit of their projects, irrespective of their community or origin. There are obstacles for minority founders. People of color who are often best positioned to design solutions face barriers in raising funds. Bias and inequity, the predominantly white philanthropic and funding landscape creates biases, highlighting the importance of empowering communities to address their own needs, especially in addressing the disparity in access to capital for founders of colors. Convergence of talent pools. It is recognized that evaluating the potential impact of social investment will require fostering new talents and developing a convergence of social and financial talent pools in the finance profession to address the challenges faced by for-profit social ventures as well as the development of industries that standards through project initiatives. Reframing traditional selection criteria. As regards objective function, this is used to evaluate and compare different investment options based on their financial and impact returns. In traditional finance, the objective function often focuses solely on financial metrics such as profitability and return on investment. However, in the context of impact investing, the objective function needs to incorporate social and environmental impact alongside financial returns. This means that investment decisions are based on a broader set of criteria that includes both financial and social objectives. It is crucial for fund managers to understand which investment option will generate the most impact and to assess the trade-offs between financial returns and social impact. It also plays a role in reframing traditional selection criteria and processes used by financial professionals to evaluate potential investments. Evaluating impact potential. This is This is a complex task that requires a thorough understanding of both financial and social factors. It involves reframing the traditional selection criteria and processes for finance professionals. With the lack of a single objective function to optimize, engaging with impact in a rigorous and unbiased way becomes challenging. One approach to evaluating impact potential is through the use of an impact compass. This tool provides a framework for assessing the social and environmental effects of interventions or programs both in the short and long term. Additionally, academics often rely on randomized controlled trials to assess social and environmental effects, but these studies can be costly and impractical, especially in the context of evaluating early stage ventures. Furthermore, evaluating the future impact potential of a product, service, organization, or policy without study results and serious modeling capabilities is considered an art and a privilege of long-time experts who can draw from a robust set of experiences to inform their judgment. Now, the role of experts in impact investing is crucial for ensuring the effective allocation of resources and maximizing social impact. Experts in impact investing are instrumental in driving the transition from a workforce focused solely on financial metrics to one that is fluent in evaluating both financial and impact returns, it ultimately contributing to the effective delivery of social value to communities. The next two slides emphasize the role of government intervention and community empowerment in addressing the founding challenges faced to prioritize social impact. First, the democratic process. This is vital for government intervention in addressing societal needs, particularly in impact investing and social innovation. It helps align the market system to better serve societal needs alongside private interests. Through democratic mechanisms, resources can be allocated more equitably, policies can be shaped to promote social good, and a balance between public and private interests can be maintained. This process is essential for fostering an inclusive economy that supports both private enterprise and public welfare. Incentives for social ventures. The current incentives for social ventures are misaligned with the needs of for-profit social entrepreneurs, posing insignificant barriers to their growth. Traditional financial markets prioritize private wealth creation, making it difficult to support societal needs. A better system would channel resources to public good, foster impact-savvy talent, and use the democratic process for resource allocation. Government interventions like subsidies and tax breaks could help transform the incentive structure to better support social ventures. Fair allocation for social projects should provide equitable access to resources for all entrepreneurs, regardless of their community of origin. Funding should be based on the merit and potential impact of projects, free from personal biases. The system must consider unique challenges faced by different communities and offer tailored support to ensure all entrepreneurs can succeed. Transparency and accountability mechanisms should be included to build trust and ensure efficient use of resources. Engaging diverse stakeholders in decision making can enhance fairness and effectiveness. Ultimately, such a system should promote inclusive social innovation and address systemic inequities. Community empowerment models. First is addressing social problems. The challenges of addressing social problems, particularly the difficulty in accessing sufficient capital for social projects, can be mitigated by empowering communities to meet their own needs and leveraging the critical role of philanthropy and impact investing in fostering innovation and risk-taking for social ventures. A collaborative approach involving government bodies, philanthropic organizations, impact investors, and communities is essential. By pooling resources and expertise, these stakeholders can create a supportive ecosystem for social innovation. Next is democratic resource allocation. Is crucial for inclusively and effectively distributing resources, ensuring the success of collective social projects. Therefore, advocating for a democratic resource allocation system is essential to empower communities, correct market failures, and address economic inequities. Civic engagement is highlighted by emphasizing community empowerment to address their own needs supporting social entrepreneurship by funding local entrepreneurs provides communities with necessary resources, fostering ownership and involvement in social change and development. Developing democratic structures that return the social agenda to communities enhances civic engagement by ensuring inclusive decision making. This approach builds local capacity and leadership, creating tailored solutions that foster long-term resilience and self-sufficiency. By funding local social entrepreneurs and prioritizing community-driven agendas, civic engagement is significantly enhanced, empowering communities to effectively and sustainably address their challenges. The key takeaways for this topic is that for-profit social ventures are notably more successful at fundraising compared to non-profit profits, securing 9 times more funding with an average deal size 9 times greater. Despite the legal framework allowing for-profit companies to adopt a social mission, the funding landscape remains heavily profit-driven, prioritizing financial outcomes that often do not align with the goals of social ventures. While for-profit social ventures benefit from a more favorable fundraising environment, significant disparities in capital allocation persist, particularly affecting impoverished communities. To address these challenges, a comprehensive approach involving philanthropy, impact investing, and a shift towards stakeholder capitalism is essential. This approach can foster innovation, support early-stage social ventures, and empower communities to drive their own social change. In conclusion, market-oriented systems and profit-focused investing alone cannot address major social issues, often neglecting economically disadvantaged communities. Government intervention and systemic changes are needed to redirect resources towards societal needs. This involves implementing policies like tax incentives, subsidies, and regulations that support social ventures. A comprehensive approach requires collaboration among stakeholders to develop new financial instruments such as social impact bonds and blended finance, which can attract funding for high impact projects. Additionally, creating incentives for businesses to adopt socially responsible practices, and ensuring democratic processes in resource allocation are crucial. Engaging diverse stakeholders in decision making can lead to more inclusive and effective solutions. In summary, addressing social challenges requires government intervention, systemic changes, and collaborative efforts with new financial instruments and democratic processes to create a more equitable and sustainable future. And that concludes my topic today. Thank you.